I just want to say I marked the tape because I haven't said that in a long time.
You're listening to a mostly harmless cutaway.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless? Oh, come. I think that's pretty good coverage for a disintegrated pile of rubble.
This is Eric.
This is Josh.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
This is Carl.
And welcome back to Mostly Harmless Cutaway. It is episode 176, and I hear a voice in the room that I have not heard in well over a year. I don't even know how long it's been. And I'm not even talking about podcasting. I'm just talking about in life hearing the voice.
Wait, Sean's cats? Is that what you're hearing?
I know Sean's cats very well.
It is a cat.
It is a cat.
Yeah, that's me. So.
I mean, it's so, this is momentous. I don't want to say it's not momentous. It's momentous. This is important. Like, I've looked forward to this day for, I don't know, 12, 15 years. Has it been, Kat?
Yeah, it feels like.
No, but honestly, the last episode I think on MHC that Kat appeared on, and it hasn't even been released, I don't think, as of time of recording.
That's quite some backlog.
But it exists, though. This episode does exist.
Oh, okay.
I think it's either Kat's last appearance on the show was either the oh my god, Rosa Parks episode.
Oh, I remember that.
Or maybe an episode that came soon thereafter the Rosa Parks episode. And so and it does exist, and it will be released probably in 2024.
Yeah. What? Oh, okay.
Welcome back, my dear.
Thank you.
Long life.
It's good to have the show back. Doctor Who, I felt like, I guess I like Jodie Doctor. I felt like people were really kind of mean to her. And maybe she cut her run a little too soon. But
yeah, I think Chris Chibnall was mean to her, but I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see more, but if the fans aren't feeling her, you gotta do what you gotta do. But it made me sad to see the fans responding that way. So
kind of me too, including myself, maybe sad of myself, maybe.
I'm not gonna say a word.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not trying to, you're bad, or anything like that. It's just I really if you don't naturally like her, that's just it. But I wish people would have naturally liked
100%.
You know what I mean?
I think that time will tell. I think it's almost like the Colin Baker era, where when you look back at some of those episodes now, and they seem, I appreciate those. Perhaps there was a point. I don't really want to talk about the Whittaker.
Okay,
but just what you just said right now, Sean. Yeah, I kind of agree with the comparison you said to looking back.
Yeah,
Colin Baker in hindsight.
I'm gonna love her on Big Finish, is what you're saying.
That's not what I heard.
Well, I didn't like Donna for her first run, and then time passed, and I went back and watched Donna. I was like, oh my god, I love her.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So maybe that'll happen. You had to put her in the refrigerator, spaghetti and meat sauce, and it got better.
Yes. Yes. I guess Donna was sort of fridge in a way.
I was going to say Jodie Whittaker actually
add some dried red pepper. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and to a milder,
it does represent spaghetti and meatballs in the refrigerator. I think that's a really good comparison.
And to a milder extent, Kate, I agree with what you just said with Donna as well. And there's something I definitely want to know, and I'm sure listeners want to know too. And we only have about 4 hours of tape to work with, but can you just I'm assuming you saw the first 3 specials that came out recently.
Yeah.
And just, you don't have to get deep into it, but just what was your broad take on the 3 specials preceding the one we're going to talk about today?
Broadly, I was shocked that I hadn't been spoiled, that I had no idea David Tennant was going to be on there.
That's insane.
That I'm I've been on the struggle bus big time. That was just oh shit, okay. I mean, I felt like I may have knew or whatever, so it wasn't a total surprise, but maybe I forgot. But I was like, oh. But I thought it was going to be a trick. I thought it was just that he was going to pop up, and I didn't know there were going to be full episodes. You know what I mean? I didn't know.
Okay, because I was wondering when you first started watching these specials, did you maybe think, oh, we're seeing like past adventures of the Doctor, or did you know what was going on with why he was even there?
Right. I think, well, he actually, what do you call it? Regenerated into David Tennant at the last of Jodie, right?
Right, correct. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that going in.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. But I think, I forgot. I was just like, oh, I thought it was, like I said, I thought he was going to make like that really quick appearance, be a one episode, one off thing, like with him and Matt Smith and,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I didn't think it was going to be a whole big thing, but I thought, how nice is this just to get him back for, a while. So I really enjoyed him there. I liked the 3 specials. I think my favorite was the Wablu Yonder, because it was just
interesting.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
It was just Donna and the Doctor and the chemistry between those two, and a problem that was crazy that they had to solve, that I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm enjoying whatever is happening. You know what I mean? So
yes.
And I saw like the aliens with the long arms and stuff like that. I was like, Eric's gonna like that because something's getting bigger, something's getting smaller, blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah, you're right about the bigger, smaller.
Yeah, that's yeah. I was like, oh, you're gonna appreciate that. But it really put me back into the mind frame of watching David and Donna, or I forget her real name, but watching those two together back in the day. And then there, because there's a little bit of I guess what you call it, serotonin they give off. There's just a really nice treat. How you felt when you were watching those old episodes with him and her. So
I was golf clapping in the background, but I very much agree with what you just said. I feel like really the same way as what you just said. And we haven't talked about it at length yet, I don't think, and I'm not saying we will, but so in hindsight, at least of the 4 specials or 3 specials so far, I think it was a good decision to bring back Tennant just for this little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking for myself, I don't know about fandom at large, but speaking personally, I think it was good. It really did set me up and prime me for the 4th special and whatever else is to come.
I agree that was a really good call for them. And when we get to the Bi-Generate episode with all that craziness, I feel like they're getting a little too tricky with the Doctor. Like, I don't even understand. I still don't understand the child thing that happened with Jodie Whittaker, let alone like what is this bi-generation, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it was fine. It just worked for the episode. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to overthink it. But I think whatever they did in that episode, it reminded me of David Tennant's first episode when he was out on a ship or somewhere with his pajamas on or
Christmas
something.
Invasion.
Yeah. I was like, this feels like that. His entrance, new Doctor, Dr. Black. I mean, what are we doing with this? I don't know. I'm just gonna use that. That's gonna be my thing.
Okay.
And his entrance felt like that. So I liked it. His entrance, I thought it was fine. I had some maybe other issues, but it was fine. And the first one with Unit and the little Donna and her family and stuff like that, it was, I felt like they were doing a lot in that episode. There was a kitchen sink I felt walked on. But
no, that is fantastic, Kat. Because I'm so glad to hear that at least you and I are kind of back on the same page with something again. Because for people who've listened to our sister podcast RBG on Star Trek,
why do you, we were having a good moment
in the last 3 years of new Star Trek. Kat and I have quite diverged on newer offerings in the Star Trek world, and it's felt strange. and so it feels good. It almost feels like coming home to
No.
be like on the same page on something again.
Hmm.
So fantastic.
Hmm.
So finally, the moment everyone's been waiting for, including myself, we're going to talk about the church on Ruby Road. Obviously, I know how I feel about it, but does anyone want to just jump in because they have strong feelings, whether they're good or bad?
I'm going to jump in. Not really because I have really strong feelings, but because I'm the first logically to pass out before the end of this episode.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Good.
All right, we have to make a new rule in Doctor Who, people. We have to make a rule. And I know why this rule is hard to adhere to, but a regeneration episode cannot happen on Christmas. In the Christmas episode, whether it's the one where he regenerates or the one where he, wakes up to a person. Stop it! Stop it!
Why? Why?
I personally feel that the Christmas episodes of Doctor Who are written very lightly, like they're meant for the whole family to enjoy.
Yes,
because they have lighthearted humor and all that. And I don't think that the Doctor's regeneration should be like that. Like, I really hate to say it, but I wish it could be a little bit more like the old days where the Doctor, it's not really easy for them to regenerate. I mean, they're just fatigue.
Yeah.
So that's one overbroad thing. And I understand that it's not preventable because of the way that different seasons are scheduled, and they're a showrunner,
bookended and whatnot.
This is how David Tennant was introduced, by the way.
Yeah, exactly what Kat was just talking about.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't like this that much. I liked. There was I want the goblins out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the goblins were derivative. The idea of the goblins stealing the baby was straight from. I'm not saying they stole it from Labyrinth, but that's immediately what I thought.
Me as well.
Yeah, and the goblins going up and the lore behind the goblins, which we're not given much of, is that I'm thinking there's a miniatures game. Mostly popular in the UK called Malifaux, and the goblins in the lore of that game are exactly like the goblins that we see here. But otherwise, it was fine. I just felt like those it wasn't because like the computer graphics were bad, because they were a little bit creepy, but that goblin king, and how is he a king? All he does is sit and eat.
He's like the Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, everything that was, the stuff of RTD that we're used to with the family issues is really great. And it turns out that there's a slight It's a Wonderful Life little subplot in there for a moment. That I really wish they would have made the whole episode about, instead of just using the goblins. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think about it.
That's good.
It good.
I get pretty much everything you said, Sean, and I kind of sensed a lot of the same things you did. It's just I didn't feel as strongly as you, especially about the negative ones, or the goblins, or the Christmas Day business for a Doctor's opening story. I mildly agree, but it didn't really bother me that much. To me, it feels like, because this Doctor, when he was introduced in the previous special and now he's in this one, he seems very ready to go, like out of the box. As you said, like I am used to that, the Doctor being discombobulated and trying to find himself again. I am used to that. And so to me, it almost feels like I wish, and maybe we could get it later, or this will never happen, but it feels like there's a missing episode between the previous special and this special, where we would have a companion light episode where it should be like a Doctor solo adventure. And so in my mind, there's a missing adventure there that we just never saw, and that would have made it all better for me.
But there's not, and you are in that chair. So.
Wow.
That's fine.
No, seriously.
No, you're right, but that's fine. I'm okay with that.
That's a good point.
That is how it is, and that's fine. That's fine, though. Like I said, I'm not as bothered as you are, but I do get what you're saying. So the episode, overall, especially the first time I watched it a week ago, I was like, okay, it's okay. At this point, I'm still on the train, and it's only been like 2 episodes in, but I'm still on the train of, and this would happen to me like with Smith and with Tennant in the past, which is, even if I'm not that engaged in this particular story, I am engaged with the actor playing the Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. So regardless of the dressing of the episode around him, I am still quite transfixed on him. And as I said last time, but obviously Kat wasn't there, I checked him out a little bit in Sex Education, and I only watched 4 or 5 episodes of that show.
You need to keep going.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
Yeah, I do, especially now. Especially now, I do need to keep going. But he seemed fine on that show, not good or bad, just fine. And so I didn't really have any feelings going into seeing him actually properly appear in Doctor Who. But now that I have, Kat, I'm completely in love with this guy and the way he portrays the Doctor. I'm kind of fascinated with his accent. And it's not just the Rwandan-ness. It's because it's mixed with its own version of Scottishness.
Yeah.
I find very interesting, and it really engages me with him.
I think he's damn sexy. I hate.
No, he is.
He's made for you, Sean.
I hate to say that about the Doctor. I thought that about
people have been saying that about many
David
previous
Tennant,
Doctors.
but when he was dancing in that club, yeah, damn.
Yeah, I know other fans
and wearing his underwear. Yeah,
I know other fans have other opinions about the club scene, but I actually agree with you. He was amazing in that scene, and I absolutely feel the sex appeal, and I don't have a problem with that. I still haven't really fully thought about what I think about the Doctor as a character having such sex appeal. And again, he did before it with Tennant. It's just I didn't think about it with Tennant like I am with.
That's weird. I mean, what you're talking about is exactly how I feel. Like, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. The Doctor being sexy. I don't know, but. Yeah.
So I don't know, to be determined on that, but just for right now, I like it. It's cool. It's interesting. I'm not thinking about the lore or the canon or anything like that. I'm just thinking this is nice. And yeah, so overall I found the episode on first watch not overly engaging. I was just kind of enjoying the Doctor himself and hearing him speak more and learning more about this iteration. That's kind of what carried me through. Also with the new companion, Ruby, I mean, she seems fine, I guess, but there have been other companions, especially in the new series, that I kind of knew I liked them very, very quickly. And this one, I mean, she's only been in 1 episode, to be fair, but the jury's still out for me. And I'm not going to judge too harshly because it is only the first episode, but only judging her in this 1 episode, her character feels like an amalgam to me. Like she has elements of Rose, Amy, and Clara. She feels like a combination of the 3 kind of a little bit put together. And so that's weird and not interesting on its face. So that's why I'm kind of lacking on her because... And I'm sure we're going to learn much more later, but just for right now, she hasn't engaged me because I don't know what's unique about her. There's some things about her.
She's a foundling. Of course she's unique.
Yes, there is that element. And of course, I know we're going to explore that more in future stories. But for now, that's not enough to hook me in. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm patient. It's okay. The actress seems fine. I have never... seen her in anything else before. I know she's from EastEnders, but that's something I've definitely never watched in my life. So yeah, and I have other thoughts. The only last one I'll offer for now is that, so I watched it again just before we started recording today, and it was only my second viewing. And now that I knew the whole story and everything and what to expect, I did like it a bit more on second viewing. And I thought, it's a bit nicer than I thought the first time. I appreciated more little elements. And yes, when they were on the set of the Goblin ship, the Doctor and his companion, I love that set because it's like a bigature miniature. It looks so fantastic. This is exactly what I was saying. I wish they did in Wild Blue Yonder. It had made a miniature set, and then like David Tennant and Catherine Tate like squeezed themselves.
That's great. Why did the ship have air vents when it was made out of sticks?
I thought.
Did this bother anybody else?
No. You're right. You're right. They don't make sense. Except
I was not even going to start with that foolishness. So yeah.
No, hold on. Sean is correct that it makes no logical sense, but I took that as like a winking, tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, we're doing the whole air ventilation joke that gets brought up a lot, like in Star Wars fandom and other things. So I thought it was an intentional in joke.
I thought it's a Christmas episode, so it's stupid.
Well, that's also part of it.
There's another part, and we've been talking about how RTD takes jabs at Stephen Moffat, and the part where the baby gets kidnapped, she jumps on the sky ladder or whatever you want to call it, and he says, "Hey, don't jump on that. Why would you jump on that? Just jump on a sky ladder from nowhere. Why would you do that?" Or something to that effect.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That was a jab to
There's a couple of more of those too.
Yeah.
But I can't remember them.
That was a jab to the Dr. Dances. Is it Dr. Dances? Where Rose just randomly grabs the rope of a
dirigible.
Yeah, dirigible that turns out to be John Barrymore rescues her.
It was the empty. Yeah, I hate to be pedantic, but it was the empty child.
Oh yeah, you're right. And the last thing, because you just reminded me, the other last thought I'll share for now is that also, and I've sensed it a little bit in some of the previous specials, but especially in this one, this very much felt like overall an RTD written story, but like in the style of Moffat, which I also found a little bit weird. I mean, it's not bad. I just don't know why.
It's called A Christmas Story. That's how what you just said. That's how I interpret that.
That's fair, because it definitely is a Christmas Doctor Who story. I mean, I know.
I get that point. I totally get that point.
And Ncuti Gatwa doesn't deserve to be introduced, or any Doctor, for that fact, doesn't deserve to be introduced in one of these silly episodes. So many Doctors have been. Look at how fantabulous Matt Smith's entrance was, or Peter Capaldi's.
I wouldn't even compare. I wouldn't go. There's no way I compare those two.
I don't want to go back to the classic, like Tom Baker, Peter Davison, because that doesn't apply, because they don't have Christmas episodes then. It's a different flavor, but
I yield my time.
I wouldn't go and try to compare it to 11th Hour or Deep Breath. I wouldn't go there.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. There's no comparison, quite frankly.
Ooh, well, I'm not sure what to say about that, Josh, because one of those you named I really love, and the other one I'm just like, okay.
Well, okay, fair enough. I still wouldn't compare.
Okay, that's also fair.
But I'll say this, that RTD is mentioned in several articles as he wants to move Doctor Who from sci-fi to more fantasy, and using sort of the Toymaker as a methodology by which reality and whatever the other universe is are kind of intermixing. So this is how he's explaining how we have goblins. But I would argue that he is trying to move it towards fantasy, but it's moving towards RTD's fantasy. And I mean, he even mentioned the fact that the whole nightclub scene is how he met his husband. I
did not know that.
Yeah, it's how he met his husband. Very similar to that particular scene. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I didn't like the musical aspect of
Oh, shit, I forgot about
the
that.
episode, but I'm gonna be one of those old time fans that don't like shit like that. The immediate, kind of the Doctor and Ruby just sing right off the top of their heads. We're not doing Godspell, guys. We're doing Doctor Who. So, can we just do a Doctor Who episode without something like that? Yeah, the whole setup for Ruby was fine. I'm good with that. It's obviously going to be something in the future. You got the Mrs. Flood thing, which you have to figure out for the future. Is she the Ronnie? Whatever.
That's what I thought.
Whatever. I mean, this is typical RTD, and you know what? Moffat would do the same thing. Eric, when you mentioned it was like a Moffat episode, that hit something with me because it was like a Moffat episode in many ways. Take out the musical piece, take out so many other things. But it was like a Moffat episode, kind of timey-wimey kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely that.
That's a really important piece to all this. You take out Ruby and suddenly, the mother in this that takes on kids, is a different, completely different person. And Ruby actually changed her, which is amazing. So that's great. That's the part I really liked. As far as like Ncuti and his doctor's concerned, I'll leave it to next year. For now, it's okay. I'm not blown away by Ncuti Gatwa in any way, shape, or form. He's okay. I'm not in love with the new Sonic, which looks like a TV controller or something. Why get rid of the Sonic that they built for David Tennant?
That's what I was wondering. The same thing. I
mean, it was such a brilliant Sonic. Like, this isn't a Sonic screwdriver. It's like a Sonic TV channel changer
from the 90s.
It looks like a Sonic birth control holder.
Oh God,
like, I don't.
No,
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Kat, I didn't even think of that, but you're so right. It does.
Wait. What did Kat say? I didn't hear that.
It looks like a birth control holder.
Oh,
that they come in, and I'm just like,
it totally does. It totally does. So,
I mean, what does it have? A Nuva ring in there or something? Like, I hate it. I absolutely despise that.
And you know what? Like the gloves. I mean,
they were cute. I guess.
I think they're fine, but like, giving me Matt Smith had an episode where he had to build something. Like, I don't remember which specific episode it was, but he had to go into the TARDIS and build something. I would have liked it if there was a scene where he was building these things.
Yeah, in early 10, I had a thing when he had the Ghostbuster pack.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like that, but right here, it's just coming out of his pockets as if, he carries them all the time.
Okay.
And he never I mean, this is something brand new. I'm fine with the tech. I'm just not fine that it was just introduced the way it was.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, it feels like a Deus Ex Machina device to just appear.
I'm sorry, but that's RTD in a freaking nutshell.
Yeah, but it also made me wonder if he's planting a seed for these gloves to be important later again.
And you know what? If he does that, that's fine. I just want to see him build them.
Well,
like that's like the one scene I liked from Woman Who Fell to Earth was the fact that she built her own sonic screwdriver.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was very doctorish to do something like that out of like almost nothing.
That was a good move. I don't like the way that Sonic looked, but I like how the process.
Agreed, 100%. So from that standpoint, like, I just think there's just a few things that are just not clicking with me, and if we're gonna make this into an RTD fever dream of what Doctor Who he actually wanted when he first started, this like weird level of attraction towards the Doctor that RTD clearly has, and feels like he can do this now because the show was in trouble.
It's Peter Davison all over again.
Agreed, actually.
Oh shit, my bad.
I actually agree with that. I think JNT liked how Peter Davison looked.
Yes.
I completely agree with that. He still had the whatever it was not to make him, attracted to men. In any case, whatever. It's been said that Doctor Who is going to be more geared towards Gen Z, and as a Gen Xer, I can definitely feel that.
I don't even know what Gen Z wants when it comes to that, but I'm not going to explore that further right now.
Well, you won't have to explore it, Eric, because you're going to see it this spring.
Oh, that may be RTD's agenda. I just don't know if Gen Z is on the same page as what I'm saying, but I don't know.
Who shall we hear next?
Oh, I just want to say on the point of making the gloves, what Josh had just said, that's what I sort of kind of wanted with the new Sonic.
Yeah.
I don't have strong opinions on the look of the new Sonic, but I do understand the fact that I believe this is. I didn't read anything. It's just what I think. The 14th Doctor Tennant, his Sonic, it seemed like a clear homage to the new series Sonics because it had bits and pieces of all preceding ones.
It was.
Yeah, so that made sense.
I read the article in Doctor Who magazine today.
Oh, I didn't read the article.
It was in Doctor Who magazine,
Yeah.
and I was.
Well, can you say that again? What was it?
The Sonic that we saw in the first three specials with David Tennant's Doctor, it has elements of like the Eccleston Sonic, the Matt Smith, and the Capaldi. It's like all three kind of mashed together.
That is intentional. Yes.
Yes, I thought so, and it makes sense. Therefore, it makes sense to me that they would go with something totally new and different with Ncuti. That's fine. I don't have an opinion on the actual thing itself yet.
It's not a Sonic. It's not a Sonic. Okay, it's just not.
Oh, geez.
No, that's fine.
No, it's not. It's not even close. It's like a remote control for television.
We have two other people here that haven't.
No, but I just wanted to say that I just wish that we did get some kind of backstory or formation of the new Sonic. That's all.
No, I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just going to pick up right off of Josh's crankiness about the Sonic. I hate it. I don't know. It seems vaginal somehow. I just do not like it at all. I'm like, what is that? Oh, maybe it is vaginal because the other ones are kind of phallic.
Oh.
Okay, maybe.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, now my mind is blown. Okay, but I also am gonna agree with Josh on the I'm not blown away. I like the new Doctor. Things that I liked is that he reminded me of my time in Brooklyn, where I stayed in a neighborhood where it was mostly West Indian and African people. And he did a thing that a lot of the African women did when he held the baby. They did this thing. They say, They do something like that.
I didn't know that.
And I picked up on that and I was like, oh my God, he knows. And the ladies that he was hanging out with in the apartment, they were really kind of West Indian because they would say, you know, they had the kind of almost not quite Jamaican, but like the original Jamaican accent or whatever. And they would say things like guan. And it was just like, instead of go on, they would say guan. And so there were a lot of little things like that I liked. And his accent, I was like, okay, this is the first time we had a doctor with like not quite a British accent, right? Or no?
Well, not a traditional British accent,
not traditional,
certainly.
Right. So I appreciated that. I think my guy is gorgeous. The teeth, I mean, I'm like, bro, like those teeth are almost blue. They're so white. Like, I love dental hygiene. Like,
I don't love dental hygiene, but I do love his teeth.
His teeth are great. And I think like he's just very clean. He's very like, he knows he's good looking.
Yes.
He knows he's doing a thing. But unfortunately for me, I also know that he's a girlfriend, you know, and it's just like, I miss Eccleston because that man, woo! But, you know, this guy's just like, well, I mean, I guess if I like fix myself to become pansexual or whatever, it'll be fine. But it's just like, I really wanted to like be in love with the doctor in, I don't know,
you
that
mean
way.
like just Alba kind of way or something?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I wanted that. I had no I didn't know that he was going to be like, I mean, I was thinking, well, is he going to be represented as gay or is he going to be pansexual like the Captain Jack? Or is Captain Jack coming? Are they going to make out? Because I definitely want to see
probably
that.
no John Barrowman.
Wait, Kit, I have a question for you, and I'm gonna ask this question for all of you. Was he presenting gay?
Yes.
Other people?
Yeah, no comment.
It's not a trick question. I'm not going to be like...
He had a sparkle about him. I will say that.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm not hating on it because, but I feel like, you know, this is geared towards Gen Z, but it's like, it's a little heavy-handed like I don't. It's a heavy hand. Like I'm not. It was just very strong on with the trans daughter and all that, and it was just like, bro, we like you're preaching to the choir. We all love these people. We accept them. Everything else, you don't have to shove it down our throats because we're there.
I wasn't expecting this take from Kat.
Well, no, it was just like we're not the ones who need this education. We don't, like we need other TV shows to have this, and it's fine. And I enjoyed the representation, but it veers a little into maybe token territory. But then it's like, does it, or do you even have the permission to speak on this, Cat? Because if you're not feeling represented, then somebody else is, and somebody's super happy that they're looking at that doctor and he is who he is. And so you need to shut your mouth and let somebody else enjoy that. You know what I mean?
As I have said on the previous specials, to me it just feels it's BBC more than it's Doctor Who specific, but Doctor Who is obviously under the umbrella of BBC. So that's how I just kind of compartmentalize it, just speaking for myself. And the Doctor himself, to Sean's original question, I don't have my mind made up. I will say I feel like it's a queer question mark, ambiguous question mark at this point, because I definitely see the sprinkle, but I'm not 100% sold that that's what it is.
He's going to be pan. They're going to say he's going to be pan, and I'm going to be okay with it, because I think they're going to keep that open, because I felt that there was a little bit of flirtation with Ruby, but not in that way or whatever. But that, when he was doing his dance, which I am like over the moon to have a doctor with actual rhythm.
Whoa.
Because Matt Smith and the giraffe dance was not it.
Oh dear. Oh, don't bring that up.
No, thank you. But so when he was on a dance floor, I was like, all right, I see you. So
I have no idea where they're going with his sexuality or presentation. And at least right now, I am not particularly concerned what direction it goes in. That's just what I'm saying now. My opinion could change later. But yeah, that's me.
I'm not concerned. It's just like it was a lot thrown at me, and I'm like, well, what is this? What does it mean? What is it? What? So I like that. Him, I think, because he's too new, but I think he's gonna make us fall in love more. Maybe this first thing how when David Tennant first got on the scene, he was just like loud. All of his emotions were just grand. He just was like putting on the charm. I felt like we got that from him. His first episode, first couple of showings, but I think he's gonna go into being the doctor a little bit more. I think he's gonna bring like a little like the dancing thing where he's gonna bring youth. He's gonna bring vigor, and I think he's gonna bring something for me that's gonna make me like love him.
Wow.
And I
agree very much with that last part, Kat. And you just put a scary thought in my head, that I already feel like whenever this doctor or actor bows out, I'm already anticipating I am going to be so in tears. But I don't even want to think about that right now, so I'll shut up.
Yeah. So, and just a few more things, and I'll stop talking. So we already know that. I don't know. Maybe did you guys pick up on this? But the baby that they were trying to save was, of course, a brown baby. So, is that going to be him? Is Ruby having to go back and her travel through time? Are they going to like add something to that story about
I hope not.
Jodie and like the timeless child? Is that right?
Yes, you're
like,
correct.
are they going to add that stuff to it?
God, I hope not, but okay.
I don't know. Yeah. There's still Mavity cracks me up every time. They're still rocking the Mavity, so that's.
I'm still wondering if that will be important, like in a finale or something.
I don't know. I think it's just
no, not the Mavity itself, but the fact that something was changed, like a butterfly effect, something important.
I like that. I resonate with it because it feels like we're living in times that we should be saying Mavity because like the world doesn't feel right, right? So I love that.
That is a good thing. That's a good observation. But also, I wonder if Mavity will now be like the catchword, like Bad Wolf or Torchwood or something.
What, like on Z or?
No. Like Bad Wolf in season 1, people started to notice. Like they keep saying Bad Wolf, and in season 2, Torchwood. 3 knocks. And by the way, I don't want this to be the thing either. I'm just wondering.
I don't want it, but I think I giggle. I think it's just going to be a giggle.
I'll be fine if it's just a giggle.
So that said, I feel like I liked it now that I talked about it. I liked it more than I thought I did. We'll see. I guess I'm ready to hear.
Okay. Oh, God. The pressure is on because I'm excited for the next speaker.
Is that me? I guess I'm doing this, huh? All right. So let me just say a couple of things. You all hit upon so many of the main topics, so I'm just going to kind of like fill in the blanks here, just deal with a couple of cracks in between. But
like the ceiling,
exactly. Yeah. So pasting in the ceiling. For starters, I really like this Doctor. I like the energy that he is generating here in terms of what he's bringing to the character. I found him immediately likable and engaging. And that is surprising. In the past, it's sort of taken a little while to get to know some of the Doctors, unless you just thought they were out of the box hot or whatnot. I think he's doing a great job embodying so much of what the energy of the Doctor is supposed to be. So right out of the gate, I'm really, really impressed with what he's doing with the character as the Doctor. I like that. I still feel that these last couple of episodes have been lots of very great elements, but the core is still missing. Like I don't like this story. The fact that they're moving away from science and space and moving more and more into the fantasy realm really, really, really bothers me. That really, really bothers me. And I can let it go for an episode or so, and I'm okay with the occasional fantasy aspect of what Doctor Who has been, but to really make it that entirely. And look, we don't have to bring in the Daleks. We don't have to have Cybermen. It doesn't have to go that far, classic. But I missed, science and technology and physics, even if it was their interesting take on it. There is a consistency to it that is supposed to be what sci-fi is about, and they're moving away from that. And so I'm trying to hold it together with, Goblin Kings and, and Muppet Cats and whatever. I'm trying to hold it together with all of that because I like the character so much. I like the Doctor. I like, the space that they're creating, but I do not like what they're doing with these stories. So if we take the aspect of the Goblins out, just looking at, once again, the unveiling of the story, how they're building stuff up, the sense of mystery and wonder. If it wasn't for little gremlin hands and whatnot in there, I thought the question is interesting. And that's what's great about Doctor Who. When they're setting up these scenarios and you don't know where they're going with the story, the little hints, the little clues, showing us in interesting ways how things are not right, how things are a little bit off, and trying to create a space of unease. Again, if I don't have to see green hands and whatnot sneaking into it, this is really a lot of what makes Doctor Who powerful for me, that they can create these, not just alternate realities, but these questions. They can create a space of unease, and that we know that we need the Doctor to help us. So again, if I don't have Muppets popping into there, having that is something that I really enjoy. I've always liked about Doctor Who, and to be able to do that consistently is, in other words, episode after episode. Sometimes it's space, sometimes it's aliens, sometimes it's goblins. But the fact that question is there is always something I find really engaging, and they did a good job of setting that up in this one. If it wasn't for goblin hands and puppetry going on in there, just the question. The question was well constructed.
But then, Carl, can I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kat, what's up?
But Carl, a question, hasn't Doctor Who always been fantasy then? Because they have always thrown a rubber alien into it.
Well,
and
it's
stuff
at
like
least
that.
it's an alien. The fact that it's a plastic bag with a light bulb behind it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
The fact that it was an actual alien is what I'm going for here, right?
Okay.
You know, that's
all right. So you're not a goblin. Where is the Lord of the Rings doctor? Okay,
that's the thing. That's what's getting me. So I'm trying to, you know. So again, that being at the heart of it, and this being at the core of it, I got to look around that. I got to look around it. You know, look, the air vents in the leaky ship. I mean, you know, look, I roll my eyes roll back in the back of my head. The only saving grace to that, the only way that I could hold my psyche together as that was occurring, was thinking that perhaps this is a Die Hard homage for Christmas. You know.
That's. I thought. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, come on now.
Sean says that though he's never seen the movie, but yeah,
that is the only thing that I would allow for that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with this. The Die Hard reference is good. You know, again, the unease and that's set up early in this episode. You know, we're getting to see this loving family, and we're getting to see, you know, the doctor and getting to know. You know, the you know, Rose and all of that, trying to get, you know, excuse me, Ruby, but trying to get to know her and all of that. I thought, you know, again, I'm not always a huge fan of, you know, doctors in kitchens or doctors in the households.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
You know, this was a very loving kind of family, and it was there was just sort of something very embracing about it, and about all the different characters coming together. It just felt very welcoming, which I assume is really what they were going for in this episode. It's about you know, creating a space, a home, and
but
yeah.
I think like what you're talking about, like if it could be for a moment, it was like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
If
Ruby
was never born, they could have carried that out over a whole episode, and
that would have been pretty cool.
Instead, they put the fucking goblins.
Yeah,
I think that's the Christmas element you were talking about, Sean. The goblins were the Christmas element. If this was a regular episode, they would have done what you just said.
I wish they had done that.
That would have been really nice and interesting. Almost like kind of like how I found Father's Day interesting.
Yeah. So,
Carl, I'm glad you brought up the kitchens.
Yeah.
Because I have mentioned several times.
I'm backing you up.
I'm on record
countless times
that Doctor Who should not involve kitchens or children.
Oh well, this is both.
I was backing you up. I was backing you up on the.
This is 100% both.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we wasn't feeling it. Okay.
I mean, Fear Her. I think I brought this up when we were talking about Fear Her, or at some point. I don't know.
Fear Her, or it was the Night Terrors, or whatever that one was.
Or
called.
yeah, maybe it was that. It was definitely not Fear Her because we weren't doing podcasts.
Yeah, I think that's we were. You and I, Josh, were. Or yeah, we were. No, we weren't. What am I talking about?
We started in the Matt Smith's first season.
Maybe you're thinking about the alternate timeline.
Yeah, but Night Terrors,
gravity and not Mavity.
Night Terrors, I think, is when Josh coined the term the first time. Kids in kitchens.
I'm just going to say, though, that this lady's kitchen was fabulous. I love the mustard.
That was like 1950s cool, wasn't it?
The mustard cupboards. Yeah, it was so mid-century. It was so cool. I love that kitchen.
Back in style, yeah.
And she's having that on a, I don't know, she's...
a foster care mother's budget.
Mm-hmm. Foster care mom,
Sean,
but...
If you're talking about kitchens in a Doctor Who episode, then Doctor Who episode has failed.
Well, I'm just going to say her apartment was fabulous.
It is, and we're going to assume it is rent control because generations of them have been there.
Yes,
so we'll let that go. We're going to let
rent
it go.
control.
They mentioned that. They actually mentioned it.
Oh, did they? Well, there you go.
That it was rent control.
They did. Yep, they actually did.
It's pretty.
It's so
wow.
All right. Let me get back to the spackling because I got lots of loose pieces. I'm trying to keep track of things, and I'm
okay. All right, sorry, Carl.
Okay, so you all were talking earlier about let's just say the flamboyance of Doctor here going on early on. I actually really liked it, and let me say for a couple of reasons why. Let me say why.
Oh wow.
We've had a solid decade of Doctor being depressed. and being in some crap and being angry and being, to finally get quite literally a liberated doctor, a dancing doctor at the beginning of this episode is showing us a certain lightness and because we've always known Doctor has always had a spark of hope and light and appreciating the moment and all that. That's always been a part of who the Doctor is. It's just always been just buried under this weight of, trying to save the world and difficult paths and pain and alternate timelines he's trying to hold together. There's been 10 years of weight on our Doctor. And, and while I think, because don't get me wrong, I love cranky Doctor. I like old cranky doctors, really is where I came into all of this. But if we're going to try something new, to get to see this Doctor letting go of that, just trying to embrace the lightness of what the hope he's brought to so many others all along. Finally, the Doctor kind of focusing on himself here, just enjoying a moment and trying to come out a little bit more here. I liked it. I liked it. And so to see the Doctor out there dancing and free.
That was a gorgeous scene.
And to see the Doctor attractive in a way. The Doctor was hot in that scene. He's catching people's eyes and, Ruby's checking him out. And, the Doctor has been cerebrally attractive all along. Once you get to know him, once you get through the crusty edges, once you see what he's about.
David Tennant, man. David Tennant
and Matt Smith was like the picture of. Sorry, yeah.
I'm just I got 50 years I'm going through here, so I'm these are the newer ones, but
okay.
Still,
right.
Josh is right, but they still had that regret, that cloud hanging over them.
There was a pain, there was an internal pain to them.
Angst, as Carl says.
So my point is to see the Doctor looking like he's freaking having fun for a change. I think that's going to be a very new perspective, because despite all of the weight and despite all the pain and despite all of the angst he's had in the past, he has always had a spark of joy and of light in him that he brought out in so many other people. Like I said, to see him expressing that very clearly, I think this is going to be a fun, interesting take, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
So wait a minute, wait. So okay, so I buy that. That was the sort of what we felt at the end of the giggle, is that you can leave your pain and suffering here in this generation, this regeneration here, and sit on Earth with your own TARDIS and whatever, and live with the noble family, which is just silly. But you know what? We did see some pain and angst in this Doctor, of being a foundling.
Yes, true.
Of being the timeless child. You saw his pain. He cried. So I'm not seeing all, light and hope and forever and great and everything. I'm seeing a Doctor that is kind of shifting aside his. And the other thing is, the fact that he's found Ruby and all this stuff that we didn't see, prior to this, which is where he built his new Sonic, where he built his new gloves and all the other stuff. He went to find Ruby, who's also a foundling just like him, who doesn't know who his parents are.
Yes.
It's so, as much as RTD wants to get rid of that and all the old angst about the Time Lords and all this other stuff, he's not. He's just finding a new angst.
Well,
to have for the Doctor.
I think somehow both of you are right on this last statement. I don't know how, but I think you are. And Carl, you had me a little bit afraid when you started critiquing the episode. But then with that last bit you just did on the Doctor just truly expressing himself again, that's my
Eric,
my gold star comment of the podcast thus far.
Themselves.
That bit just totally resonated with me because I feel the same way, and that's my favorite thing so far.
All right. I still got more. I'm trying to hold these pieces together. So let me try to get a couple of other things out here. My only answer to us both being right about the Doctor being sad is, I think the difference is, I don't The difference is, it is the Doctor carrying the weight and pain of the universe versus the Doctor carrying weight and pain that is his own. That is personal to him. So I'm down with because this is the liberated, freer Doctor that's working on himself, right? Not with the on top of the weight of the entire universe that he's trying to reconcile. This is him trying to work on his own stuff, and not like the War Doctor scale kind of healing. But anyway, so I don't know. It feels more personal than the kind of stress and pain that he's been with. And this one is, again, something that, okay, I got you. Again, we haven't seen what predates all of this and why he's drawn to Ruby the way he is. And so maybe, that'll come out later on. But the point is, I'm just saying, we got our dancing Doctor. We've got something that's a little bit more personal and that's a little bit more light here. But okay, that's not. So what else we got? Eric, were you talking about the derivative nature of what was going on early in this episode? When I saw the puppets and I saw the goblins, I mean, you're absolutely. There was Labyrinth. There's Dark Crystal. There is Hook. There's all of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's just just the noise of it. I can see, and I like so many different elements of it and so many different pieces of it. And you get to look at the production qualities off the charts. No one's saying that we got plastic bags and spray painted aliens anymore. This is really high quality stuff. But the fact that it is so derivative. Like I said, it's Dark Crystal. It is, Gremlins. When the Goblin King showed up, I was getting Chet from Weird Science vibes coming in there.
Yes.
All of this stuff. I'm like, I've seen all of this, and I'm trying to go past that. I'm not even averse to musicals. I thought that the Cy Snoodles girl jumping up and breaking down in the song, and then and then the Doctor and Ruby jumping in there. I appreciated the demonstration of their chops. All right, because this was actually quite musical. This wasn't forced and corny. They were kind of jamming. I was like, okay, that's not
was
bad.
that supposed to be like a troll Beyonce?
Anyway, I'm just saying that the derivativeness of it, really, I'm trying to get past the fantasy of it, and then on top of that, it's like stuff I've seen so many places before. It was just coming at me from all these different directions, so I'm trying to navigate all of that and deal with the situation. So obviously, I like tech, I like sci-fi aspect of things. This is apparently trying to be more of a gadgety Doctor, between the gloves and the 1995 digital cam, what was it, iMac version of a Sonic?
Absolutely, like Future Man.
I hated the knots thing.
Did you see the blue and translucent? That was straight up iMac. I did not like that. But so. Can we pick a lane? If we got MacGyver Doctor coming along, I'd love to see, like you said, there should be a reason why his Sonic looks so weird. If he had to build it, like out of a 1995 track ball, out of Break
out the Logitech.
It is straight up Logitech. That is a Sonic by Logitech.
Oh my God.
That would have given me some, explanation for it, and I would have, I can deal with it. I like, that he's gadgeting, he's tinkering with stuff, and he's building stuff. That would make sense out of it. I really, really, really am sad that they let go of the new Tenet Sonic. I liked it, even though it was crazy, and he was using it to create full screens and projection and shield. I at least I liked that it still had the Sonic feel to it. I genuinely, why? The Lady Bic, the birth control dial. I'm just, why? So I'm going to look past. I'm going to let all of that go, and I'm hoping that we're going to see a bit more of, a gadget side of the Doctor here. So yeah,
Carl, Kat, I'm going to ask you guys this. Yeah. Does the fact that the Doctor is now black make? I don't know. What do you think about that? Does it make your life better? Oh my god! Or
It's
is it like whatever?
So I'm gonna tell you this. When Obama was running for president, I was like, I am not gonna be fooled by this handsome man just because he's black. He's gonna have to prove himself to me. All you people are being like all in love with him. It's like, oh my god, he's a black president.
Oh, okay.
So
Whatever.
but then I
Okay.
was just like, and then he did eventually earn. Like he came to me in games, the games that I were playing. I was on Twitter. He tweeted. He sent his first
What?
vice president. Yeah.
What are we talking about? What games?
I'm talking about he campaigned in Second Life.
Okay. Oh, I don't know anything about this.
Obama did. He used Twitter, first presidential whatever, to use the Twitter, I think.
Oh, how things have fallen.
First president to announce his VP selection via text. He was doing so many online things that I was really impressed. And he knew he had to work harder to like it, because I don't know, he just had to work harder, because I'm just not that person who are like, oh, we have the same skin color. That means where's that? Because we're not. All of us are different. So to me, the skin color thing really wasn't the thing that I noticed about him. I feel like because they like put us in a identity gender frame of mind from the first part of it, that was more important than his color. But
by the way, I'm wondering why Sean didn't ask me that question, just you guys.
All right.
Josh, straight out of Harlem.
All right. So let me chime in on
He
this.
is the hardest.
Let me chime in on this. It is very easy to just find a random black person and slot them into a role. And again, telling you a little bit of the what goes on in the black culture, a little behind the scenes. Black folks are hard on black folks. You ever watched Apollo? You have to represent if you're going to take on a role. It's not good enough just to be black. And, black folks know that there are plenty of people who are black that, let's just say,
they are trash,
are not helping anybody. So just the fact that he's black is not, good enough. And particularly if you are a person of color, you're going to be looking at a side eye going, let's see, what's this guy going to do? And I was curious to see what he was going to be able to do, what he was going to deliver. Did he bring something new? Did he bring something interesting? Yep. And right away, you've heard my evaluation. It's not just because he's black. This is a totally new kind of energy for the Doctor here. And that he happens to be black. He's bringing something that is unique to that. And that's valued. So, I'm excited that not only is it a black doctor, but he's a good doctor. I mean, like right away, I'm like, oh God, whew, okay.
Yes, very good point.
He's a good doctor. So, he's gotten he's checking a lot of boxes. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's black. He's got some, flair, some sparkle going on here. There's a lot of stuff he's doing, and he's not doing it in a corny, over the top, cartoony, kind of way.
I have a question only for Sean.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Where's this going?
I know where it's going.
Oh, yeah. I said that ironically.
What did you think about the fact that the Doctor is, well, it was said that he was gay in Blue Yonder, and now he's clearly, I don't want to say clearly gay, but is at least coming off gay. What do you feel? Do you feel good about the fact that you're getting representation of a Doctor that's actually gay as a gay man?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put my drink in the mantle and just say, let's wait and see.
Oh.
I think that good gay representation in films and TV shows just has to go a little bit more. They've been really good in the last few years.
There have been notable examples.
Yeah, it's a long story. It's not the 90s.
What does that mean?
I'm really
What?
sad that this
What does that mean?
that this doctor isn't Jewish. Then I could get asked the question too.
Oh God. You know what? I think we have a good crew to ask these questions. People are talking about this, so this is nice. I like.
Well, I heard these exact questions on another famous Doctor Who podcast. Just kidding.
We are the most diverse podcast out there, but there it is. I'll just say it out loud.
And actually, I just want to say on what Josh just said, and I don't even think that has anything to do with melatonin or anything like that. I think when Josh says diverse,
Do you think?
It's not melatonin.
Melanin?
It's
Do you think melanin? Are you?
that's what I meant.
We're gonna let him go. We're gonna let him go.
Melatonin will allow you to sleep. If Doctor Who could put me to sleep, I might be okay with that.
What is happening?
You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying.
Poor Eric.
Yes, I have melatonin in my skin. If I lick myself, I pass out. No. You know what I'm saying. But I want to really say, because anytime I hear Josh or anyone say like we have the most diverse podcast, I really don't think it has anything to do with the shade of light that we reflect. It's because we have like such different feelings about the content itself. Because I think we're all somewhere on the quote unquote spectrum of liking this episode and the previous specials. Like, there's no two of us on the panel who have like extremely similar feelings on these individual specials.
I actually agree with you. That's what I meant by diversity.
Yeah, and that's what I always hear.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah.
Anyway, that was a fun road to go down.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that, you know, I just want my, and you guys all brought this up, and I'm just going to say it again. I just want my doctor to be fun to watch and a true doctor. And there's been many who have fallen into that category. In fact, I would say 95% of the doctors have fallen into that category. I'm not going to mention who I don't think probably fits a doctor. Out of the 13, 14, 15 doctors that we've had, the fact of the matter is it a good actor? Are the stories really good? Is it well directed? I don't even care. You know, you were talking about the monster and the trash bag and the light and stuff like that. Like I'm from the old school. Like, I don't even care about that. Like, some of my most favorite stories have that as your alien, and yet the story was so good I could look past it. I just don't want RTD to push us down into identity politics, push us down into, not enjoy. I want the stories to be enjoyable. If they have a message, don't make the message so in your face that you want to like, okay, I get it. You know, I want people to think. That was the greatest thing about Doctor Who, is when I was watching it as a kid and teenager, which made it really great, is that all the messages that were being sent were opaque. And I want it to continue to be that way. Make it opaque. Make it so you have to think about it. If I'm not thinking and it's just being spoon-fed to me, then this isn't for me. Okay? Because I don't need somebody to spoon-feed me their politics. Build a good story, make it a great dialogue, make it directed well, and make me think after the episode is over, instead of and present both sides in a cohesive way instead of presenting one side. And the stories will come. They're very easy to come forward. I mean, I just like Brave New World? What? Seeking Out New Worlds? Star Trek. What's
Strange New Worlds?
Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds did a really good job on this. They didn't stick it in our face. Sometimes they did, but it wasn't always like that.
I have comments on that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't always in my face. Sometimes it was, but no, it wasn't always. I don't have high expectations that they're going to do a Robert Holmes episode like The Sunmakers, where it was really talking about taxation and how taxation is a methodology to take down your people.
They've attempted light versions of that type of allegory in recent New Who.
I want to, but
it hasn't come off like the Sunmakers.
I want to see it come off more like that versus the in your face and explain to me at the end what it was all about. That was the whole thing about the Chibnall era. like he would do a story like Rosa, and then at the end show us, Rosa Parks and all the other stuff. Like, we get it. I mean, it was stuffed in our face enough so we understand it. And if you don't understand the history, go and read it.
Well, maybe they can't get the books to read it anymore.
But you don't need to spoon feed me. You don't need to spoon feed me how every single person in the South in the mid 50s was a racist bastard, because it's only half true. Okay? So all I'm saying is I just want it to be thoughtful and make me think.
Well, all right. Now, I understand your concern, but let's look at this particular episode. So I know what you're concerned about. I know what you're worried about. And we've seen a couple of episodes so far. Let's look at this one now. Did you see that here in this episode?
No, Carl, I didn't see it here, but what I saw here was something sort of derivative when it comes to it's way over the line when it comes to fantasy.
Okay, now we're in agreement on that.
Oh, we totally are. The goblins were Muppets. It was, to me, that's not Doctor Who. That's something else. That's
okay. Well, then that's a different issue. Again, because I know what your concern is, and I'm worried about where things may go, but we're trying to look and see what they're actually giving us. And everything that we've taken issue with in this episode has nothing to do with that kind of stuff. It is that we have seen a lot of these elements before. It's that they're moving fantasy and away from sci-fi. So I know that's the concern, but so far we got issues in other areas. So far,
oh, we've seen 4 specials so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there has been in your face kind of political stuff in all. I would say the first 3, not so much here. Other than I know he was trolling some of the older fans.
Yeah.
With the Doctor and the club scene. I know that for sure.
Yeah. All right, but that's small.
We don't know what next year's going to be, but I can almost feel it. What's going to happen? In fact, Millie Gibson has mentioned this in articles that we're going to tackle some political issues. And this is all going to be for Gen Z.
Well, all right.
And if you are in Gen X, you might as well stop watching.
Well, let's try and do it episode at a time. Like I said, I know what your concerns are, and I'm concerned about interesting turns and heavy-handedness. But let's just try and see where they're going. I thought, given that concern, that this first episode of the season was actually pretty well done. And it did not fall in the kind of traps that you're worried about. It fell in other traps, but not in the ones that you're worried about.
You're right. It doesn't, but I have great concerns.
Well, let's do it one at a time and see.
Well, it's going to come down to the question of whether it's so in your face like it was during the Chibnall era that I will not want to talk about it for staking my life on talking in a public forum about how I feel about somebody else's politics. Okay? So that will be all determined soon.
While I basically agree with the jag Josh just went on, and also what Carl said, I will say for me, at least with the specials, even though I see everything that Josh pointed out, the in-your-face type stuff, and I know what he's talking about, like we want to be able to think about the deeper meaning, at least speaking for myself, with these 4 specials in general, varying degrees, episode by episode, I can somehow see through the in-your-face stuff. Or, I see it and I go, whatever. And then upon later reflection of these individual specials, maybe it's just me inventing it in my own head, but when I think about it a week later, I do start to think of deeper things, deeper thoughts that just kind of like come into my head. So that's just where I am. And I will also say overall with the 4 specials thus far, especially compared to most of the Chibnall era, regardless of how much I've liked or not liked the 4 specials, I have yet to get bored or mentally tune out on any of them. So for that fact alone, I'm good. Even if I think the episode's a 3 or whatever, I'm good because I have not become disinterested.
I can go with you there, Eric. And I agree with Josh. I don't want it in my face, or I don't, because you preach it to the choir. We already are like, we're here. We support you. Like, we already know. But then I like Carl when he's like, take it one episode by one episode. I like that too. I'm going to take that into account. However, my thing is I saw the way they treated Jodie Whittaker, and I did not like it. So I feel my fear, I think I'm speaking from a place of fear, is if they put too much stuff in here, they're just not going to, like it. And it's going to be, haters, and it's going to be a sad ending like Jodie's was. I personally liked her doctor. I thought she she was kind of like Matt Smith meets T-Bake, but it's like I am okay with it, right? But I imagine what other people are saying, and I don't want him to just be like, I give up in one season, or I give up in two seasons, because people are so hard on them for just, bringing them up to the modern.
Yes, Kat, that would be terrible, and I would hate if that's the way things went going forward. Just speaking today, on the first day of the new year, at time of recording, I kind of feel like it's not going to happen. I don't have like extreme confidence or anything like that. I just feel like it's not going to go that bad. And I don't know. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, well, that's to be seen. And I mean, again, I will say that I've always talked about Doctor Who because I love it. And the second it stops being fun, and the second it stops being something I love, I'll stop talking about it publicly. Okay. And that's just going to be the way it is. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming season. But I don't like the differences. I don't know how to say this, you guys, because it's become so bifurcated between, sort of the old fan and the new fan. And, I think it's lost a little bit with me.
Yeah, with the bi-generation, it's weird because you're right. I do see the bifurcation amongst the fandom, and it annoys me. And I'm not going to blame anyone because everyone's going to feel how they feel. That's fine. But I hate that I do see it so constantly. It's like the way politics is now. Everyone's on one side or the other. And I definitely see that in online posts that have anything to do with New Who. And I wish it wasn't the way, but yeah, it is.
But it's not just that, Eric. It's the fact that one side considers the other side either an ist or a phobe, regardless. It's one or the other.
That is true.
The other side is evil. The other side is evil, and we are on the right side of morality.
Okay, hold on. You are correct.
And that has permeated the fandom of this show in a big way, just like everything else.
You are correct in what you just said, but at the same time, I just want to add that there are people of the other side, and I'm not saying it's a majority or minority, I don't even know what it is, but there is another side. There's another element of the opposing side who do deserve whatever monikers ridiculously get thrown at them.
But do they really? I mean, I'm not trying to.
Oh, I'm talking about certain ones. I'm not
trying to defend anybody by any.
Neither am I.
But by the end of the day, at the end of the day, these are all like Doctor Who fans from the old time, and you know what? They might be freaking racist, and they might be transphobes or homophobes or whatever it is, but like, it's just too out there in our face, everything. And like, if the show ceases to be, I don't know, something I love or something I really want to watch, I'm just not going to watch anymore.
No, I feel like it's two different subjects you're talking about, because there's your personal feelings, which of course I totally respect. But the other part about the bifurcation, I think the part I dislike the most about that is it's the most vocal, ridiculous voices on both ends. Those are the ones that really bother me when it comes to the bifurcation.
And I just want a fantasy show. I just want to take my mind off of all of that stuff and not see something that I'm fine with, but my imagination goes to, okay, well, we're going to hear people cancel this show because it has too many trans representation. They have a person in a wheelchair. People are going to hate that. It's that bothers me. I don't want to think about how they're going to feel when I'm watching Doctor Who. I just want to watch it. You know what I mean? I want to be with away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Kat. The thing is, like, the BBC has quotas. And this is not, I'm not telling anybody anything out of school.
Yeah, people who know the new Doctor Who lore, this is an actual thing. It's not just like a phenomenon or an RTD thing.
This is a thing. They actually have to have a certain number of actors who fit one of these categories or multiple categories in order to shoot something. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I give Doctor Who a pass.
On all sides. Actors, people who are part of the production of the show, people who are designing things, they have to have a certain percentage of them have to be in one of these. I'm going to say this, a victim group.
Underrepresented group.
No, I think checkbox is accurate enough.
Okay, all right. Not calling them a victim group, okay? I agree with that. Calling them, just they have to fall into a category. So as a matter of fact, this is why, like, when the Indian British person was playing, what's his name?
The Master.
No. Isaac Newton.
Oh.
When they did that because they had to do representation, regardless of whether it fit or it didn't. They were required to.
I was amused by that, though. That was.
I mean, fine. And you know what? Like, again, whatever. It's a fictional show. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
All gravity mavity. I don't care. The point is that, like, because they have these things, that's why you're seeing this incredible representation across the board, this diversity across the board. And I find that to be stuffing something in when it doesn't need to be stuffed in. Okay? And that interferes with my enjoyment of the show, because I know for a fact that they had to put that person in.
Yeah. And while RTD is responsible for RTD's inclusions in scripts and whatnot, and I'm not going to take away from that, I will say at the same time, this knowledge of what Josh was just speaking of about actual quotas that are rules in the BBC, that is part of the reason when I personally watch this iteration of Doctor Who or whatever, that's why I go, yeah, okay, I get it. There's always going to be a certain amount of some of this stuff, because it doesn't matter who the showrunner is. It's going to be there regardless.
Exactly.
So that kind of inoculates me to a fair degree. But also what Kat was talking about, how even if she enjoys the show, she doesn't like thinking about other people watching and being triggered and whatnot. I also have that feeling as I've been watching these new specials. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers Kat, but it does bother me that I'm also aware of it, because I'll see something like the dance number, and I was like, okay, this doesn't bother me personally that much, but I could feel the tension in the room of everyone else watching in separate households from me.
Just, you know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah, I felt it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, and I wish it wasn't that way. Again, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers Kat, but I'm definitely aware of it.
In any case, you can either get used to it or you can just drop it. It's up to you how you want to approach it.
But I'm definitely not going to drop it right now. Definitely not, because regardless of most of everything we're saying that I agree with, and even though this wasn't my favorite episode, even of the specials or anything, I am still anticipating seeing more Ncuti and seeing more unexpected twists and turns, as we get in any season of Doctor Who, new or old, where it's like, oh, I love Kate Androzani. Oh, I don't know how I feel about Twin Dilemma. But that box of chocolates aspect, I am looking forward to that, the Ncuti Doctor. And I know.
By the way, all white people, I was going to say all straight, but that's probably not true. All white people in both those episodes.
Oh, okay. And yeah, that was a different time. It was a very different time.
It was a different era.
But I have a feeling, and I don't know what the episode count is for the full official series.
I think it's 8.
Okay.
I think it's 8.
But I'd like to think there's going to be at least one that feels like a gem to me. I would like to think there's one out there, and I'm really looking forward to whatever episode that's going to be.
You know what's funny is that I used to look upon it the exact opposite. I used to say there's going to be like 7 gems and 1 crap.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm thinking, okay, you're probably right, Eric. There's probably going to be 1 gem and 7 crap.
Yeah, there was a window where you're right, I felt the reverse with New Who. But I also remember it might have been Series 10, the last Capaldi one. I know Josh liked it more listening to old MHCs, but for me, my recollection of Series 10 was it was kind of like what we're talking about, where I was like, ooh, and it started with the preceding series where I was like, no, that didn't hit, oh, that hit. It reminds me of this really great animated meme I had seen recently on Facebook, and it was a very simple like stick figure drawing, and it was talking about, like, in a generic sense, how addiction works, and this little stick figure finds a little some type of stimulant hallucinogen, and the little stick figure has all this glee and joy, finds another, and you get the diminishing returns, and that's kind of what happened for me, like when Moffat's era was starting to taper off, so I get what you're saying, and it's funny because even though I'm enjoying the specials, I definitely have adjusted expectations, because like I'm setting the bar lower. Like I said, I hope for 1 gem, not 3 gems or 4, because it doesn't seem likely that there would be 3 or 4.
Well, at least you have RTD, and you don't have. No offense, but Chibnall, it was definitely, maybe there was a half a gem.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm trying not to talk about Chibnall in general or his era, since we've been doing the specials. And I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that's why I'm just sort of blocking that out.
I won't.
It feels like low hanging fruit to me. But yeah. So I'm still very excited for the new shooty episodes to come, even though this one was not my favorite.
Should I rate this thing?
Yeah. Oh, you got more, Kat?
One more thing. And then this is to tack on. So I think I hear what I'm saying, I guess, where I want like something classic with Doctor Who, nothing, in my face. I was thinking back to when Martha first came on, and she was like, was she the first Black companion?
Yeah,
on screen.
Right. I didn't feel that. Like, I mean, it was there, but then she was just a person.
Yes,
like,
you're right.
It didn't feel as big or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
and then
right.
Peter Capaldi's
Bill
companion did. Yeah, thank you. She didn't. I mean, it was fine. I don't know. And wasn't she gay too?
Yeah, she was. I mean, they mentioned it.
Her character certainly was, but at the time of airing, the actress wasn't publicly out. She did that after the series.
No, I was like the character.
The character was absolutely,
and they reminded us every couple of episodes.
from Jump Street. Yeah.
Well, they did. I forgot about. But I to bring back to Josh's comment about Strange New Worlds, I'm on the fence about that because,
oh boy,
I enjoy it because it does have the vibe of the original Star Trek. However, I feel like people like it because it feels like the original Star Trek, which is a white guy in control, like just how like it was before. So it's like people find this acceptable because this is the vibe that they're looking for, or is that everybody in their places?
Hey, Kat, I love DS9.
Right. But I'm talking about other people as well because
I didn't know that about Josh with DS9.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that the character. I don't look at the color of the character's skin. If the character's good,
yeah, I agree with Josh on that.
And if it feels like the original series, then I'm all about it.
Okay.
Again, the greatest thing about Star Trek is that it really tried not to be an all white crew ever. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's true, but I'm still feeling the thing about what do you call it? Discovery. There was just the comments that the same type of comments that happened with Jodie Whittaker. Like that was the same type of vibe of the comments, and it's like,
oh, that's very true.
Worlds came out, and it was just like, oh, this is how it's supposed to.
You know what, Kat? If Jodie had like an RTD or a Moffat as their showrunner, I mean, it probably would have been much better.
And I would apply that same exact logic to Star Trek Discovery. I think if they had the exact same cast of actors and actresses, but they had a different showrunner, I think the same could have been true for that show as well.
Like, I don't blame Jodie for her time. I blame the fact that Chibnall could not write a Doctor Who episode to save his goddamn life.
The thing is, he had the black lady doctor, and she was perfect. She was just like William Hartnell to me.
I feel like that was the actress bringing it.
Right. To me, I was like, oh my God.
Had they hired her in the first place instead of Jodie Whittaker, I might have been okay with it.
If they wrote her like that,
but she had the vibe.
She was much more doctorish.
Yeah.
She was much more doctorish than Jodie ever was.
She was better written.
I agree. She was totally better written. Yeah.
So
I mean,
sure.
Again, like that's not a gender or color of skin scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the writing. Like,
yes, I agree. That's the biggest problem with these different things that we're talking about that have been bashed. Same thing for the Star Wars stuff. I think it's the writing that is the stuff that people get extremely ornery about.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Kat, just know this. Like, okay, like my perspective, and again, I'm an old white guy, but my perspective is, you got a good character. Like, I just don't look at any of their physical characteristics at all. If you've got a really good, I'll give you an example, probably something you'd never watch, but there's a British show called Hustle, which has a black protagonist, but it's kind of like Leverage. You ever watch Leverage?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Leverage, but it's a lot deeper. It's a lot better, and I love Leverage. Okay, It's called Hustle. And it's a British show. It was on for like 7 or 8 years. And like, I would not want anybody to be the star of that show except who the star was. He was a black man. Damn good. Like, I didn't look at, but it went beyond that. Like, I wasn't looking at the color of his skin. I was looking at like how smart he was and how he knew something before anybody else knew it. And it was just, I love the character.
Yeah.
It never was the color of the person's skin at all.
Yeah, people, especially younger people, forget this point, which many of us in the room and others are very familiar with, that nobody, at least not that I remember, of course I was a kid, but nobody had huge beef with Lando Calrissian, the original. Nobody had beef with Princess Leia or Sigourney Weaver's Ripley in the 80s, or Sarah Connor, the original. Yeah, it was so many people love all those characters.
Yeah, just write the character really well. And
yeah, that's what it is. That's what it always is.
And nothing else really matters.
Yes.
I think it was important to hear Josh say that.
I mean, a really good actor and write the character really well.
Yeah. That's what would fix all the Star Trek troubles, the Star Wars troubles, the whatever troubles.
I'm just saying, like
fix everything.
Ncuti could be the best doctor on the planet. He could be the best doctor ever, as long as he's written really well.
Yeah, because obviously they could have cast Ncuti Gatwa, and if Chibnall was still the showrunner, this would all be a very different conversation right now.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it becomes a misogynist thing with Jodie, and it really, I mean, to me anyway, maybe it is misogynist for some people.
Well, yeah, this is what Josh was saying earlier, when people who criticize the criticizers of the Jodie Doctor and Chibnall, they start throwing out those ist terms, and it's like, oh yes, there is a faction who do apply to the ist moniker
100%,
and that's what I was talking about earlier. There's an element that is I detest on both sides, but largely that's not really where they're coming from, and they keep saying it in post. No, it's the writing. This person didn't seem real, didn't seem believable. I hate to bring up the term Mary Sue and those types of words.
Nothing worked in the Chibnall era.
Yeah, no one has anything against a white Daisy Ridley in Star Wars. It's how her character was presented and unfolded. It has nothing to do with the person. Usually.
This is actually a very mature discussion about this topic, and I just don't think you're going to get this type of clear thinking in a social media setting. That's the thing. You're just not going to get it because everybody falls on one side or the other. You know what? There's no one side or the other. The fact of the matter is that we're all looking for something, that kind of takes us away.
Yes.
And is not, that we're not bothering about politics. We're not bothering about. I just want great writing.
Yes, and see,
and great direction and just great acting. And if you can get that, like, you'll have any Doctor Who will be good, no matter what color,
any Doctor Who or any series,
gender, or anything.
And the issue, and we all know this. I'm not saying anything anyone doesn't already know. But the problem with the internet and social media is it pours gasoline on this archaic human tendency for tribalism. And that's why we get all these opposing sides and everyth's black or white. There's no in between. There's no gray. And not to talk up ourselves or this conversation or this podcast, we as a group, like those of us who reoccur on this podcast and the others related to this podcast, we are a tribe in a sense, but we're a tribe made up of people that don't subscribe to a tribe. I know that sounds like a weird paradox, but we are a tribe of those who don't want to put themselves in their own little bubble with like-minded. Like it's more like the classic sense of like a college or a university, or the classic sense of a Senate, where people share their opposing views and then try to come to some consensus. And that is not what you usually hear on different podcasts or YouTube channels that specialize in certain topics or politics. Whoever shows up on whatever network cable channel subscribes to that, whatever the quote unquote ideology is. But here we don't have overall unifying ideology on this podcast. We have our own, but we respect what the other person says, even when we personally very much disagree about a certain point, but we let the other person speak. We take it in. We let it oh, Josh, I don't completely agree with what you said, but you have tempered me on this one aspect, that I am taking into consideration, even though I don't agree with you. I don't know why I feel like I'm starting to blow smoke. I don't want to do that, but that's what's happening right now.
Well, good for us.
Oh gosh!
Oh, all right, Carl. That's what you gotta say.
Oh, hey, no, I like that because Carl kind of let some of the tension out of the room for me. So I appreciate it.
No tension. I got you. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Well, because it's not I don't want to feel like I'm on some high horse. That is not what I'm trying to say at all.
No, it was good to hear it. Yeah.
Oh man, this feels like we're doing an anniversary episode.
It's a very special episode of that.
No, I like it. I mean, because I feel like we've been podcasting for well over 10 years now, all of us, and I remember in the beginning, none of us discussed politics race or anything like that.
Well, also because that wasn't in the zeitgeist to do that type of thing or to think that way. Yeah, back in 2009, nobody cared about stuff like that.
It wasn't important. It wasn't a part of any of this.
It was important, but I think I learned how to appreciate the characters in sci-fi and not just, oh my God, they only got one black.
So like the millennials of today, 2024, when we started podcasting circa 2009, 2010, we were the millennials age at that time. So we were the millennials as Gen Xers is what I'm saying. So we were looked upon as more progressive in the scheme of generations at the time. We were the young adult generation in 2009. So yeah, we didn't care because we were just kind of all on the same page. As children, we all kind of grew up with the Star Trek, the original Star Trek dynamic. So it was all and we also grew up, at least the way I remember it, throughout the 80s, we remembered the way they taught us about MLK's speech and everything. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to use modern political terms, but what people call classic liberalism or something. Most of us Gen Xers were kind of raised on that.
Yeah.
Because I remember being in school, people were different races and came from different neighborhoods, but it was just whatever. And people didn't take things personally usually, even when you would insult them or chop it up. We're poking fun, but no one went home and started writing their manifesto or anything. how much they hate the kids on the other side of the cafeteria.
I mean, they did, but it was rarer.
I don't know what schools Kat went to. I don't know what ward she was in.
No, but we were all taught that. That was the thing to be. I mean, it was
That's what they taught us in
content of your
school.
character was like, not color, skin, but
Yeah.
context of character. That's it. Like,
yeah. Because see, for those of you who are younger than Gen X listening, you see, when we were raised with that kind of doctrine, when we were in elementary, primary school, you see, they were trying to get the older generations, the baby boomers and older. They were trying to fix them, and we were supposed to be
racist.
The solution was like, no, think about Star Trek from the 60s and just accept people for what they bring to the table. And so we were all raised in that as Gen Xers. So that's why some of this stuff is so difficult now with the new media, because it feels regressive.
It does, and I never would have thought the internet would turn out like this.
Oh yeah, I mean you are speaking to the choir right now.
Yeah, you're totally speaking to the choir.
Oh,
I mean, we've lost the plot. It's clear we've lost the plot. I mean,
yeah, so that's why things were different in 2009, 2010, or listen to the classic episodes of MHC or the lost ones that have been coming out, because we never brought up these kinds of things. Yeah, RTD did silly things with his writing and dialogue back in the day, but we didn't like obsess about it or be super bothered about it.
He wasn't so on the nose with everything also. I mean, he wasn't on the nose, man. It was progressive. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
It wasn't, but it was definitely not on the nose. Like, it was definitely had to think through stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what I appreciated about him back then. And I worry. That's all. I'm just sitting here as a worried Gen Xer about what we're going to see next year and how we're going to be pointing at certain people as their...
Carl, you've been too quiet.
Yeah, Carl, where are you?
I'm just listening to everybody. I mean, you know how I come
You're
in
the most patient man I've ever met.
and try to summarize. I've just been listening to everybody's different opinions, and we have been through multiple different eras, and multiple different things were being attacked at different times.
Mm-hmm.
We need some of the thicker skin that we had that the Gen X grew up with.
Yeah.
Because the topics are very important and more people are asking bigger questions now. We need the thicker skin. We don't have the thicker skin, but we have bigger problems. And so, the challenge with dealing with it, I don't know what the answer is, because things were, here we go, old man, things were simpler when we were younger. Things were simpler.
Sure.
And
because you confronted disagreements face to face, not behind
a keyboard,
a curtain.
Well, do you really?
Well, hang on. Again, if you think about that, this is true, but this is what I mean when I say things are simpler. It is true that if you said something crazy, you were immediately held liable for it. In other words, they took you behind the school and there was a fight if you said something stupid.
Very
so
true.
It's not you're pretending behind.
Y'all remember news groups?
The other thing is, this accountability. When you had a disagreement, there was a fight. There wasn't a shooting.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a result of these things also.
Also true.
So, I mean, this is what I mean, where I say we've had bigger problems now, but thinner skins. So, certain strategies that we might be used to in terms of thinking about things and trying to cope with things, the scale of the problems are different now. And so it's hard to, look at this and say, ideally, I wish that, we had the same kind of thick skin that we had back in the 70s. I mean, again, I feel very strongly about the fact that we were the vanguards for diversity, and that we got that thick skin because we knew early on that we had to be comfortable listening to each other. I personally believe that in the meantime, this, idea that there is no racial problem, that there's nothing to worry about anymore, and we can just move beyond that, has caused some additional problems. And I believe that has, blinded us to some things that haven't been solved yet, that haven't been resolved yet.
No, I agree with you that things haven't resolved yet. I mean, anti-Semitism has grown 3,000% over the last several months. So there are certain cities I won't go into.
This kind
you
of
know
stuff,
what I mean?
Yeah, this kind of thing, that you are experiencing the new coarseness, and you're experiencing the new coarseness. That's a backlash of a lot of this stuff. So I agree with you, and it is, you see these changes, and you can't believe that we're going backwards when some of these things are occurring.
Yeah, I know.
But again, the challenges are different. So
Agreed. I think the challenge is definitely different. I mean, and I agree with you that we haven't resolved the problem.
All right. So what's our unit of measure?
I'd say dancing goblins.
Absolutely, we're going with Dancing Goblins.
Goblins.
I will start, and on first watch, I was giving it a comfortable 3, and maybe it's just the conversation, not the actual content of the episode, but I did more reflection, and I'm going to be generous and give it a 3.5. Not my favorite episode, not my favorite special, but I love Ncuti, and I'm still very much looking forward to more Ncuti.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go next. So with all my issues with this episode, including the singing number and that silliness there, I do think it kept my attention the entire time, and it was kind of a classic RTD kind of Christmas episode. So I'm going to give it 3 Dancing Goblins, even though I don't like the Muppets, and I don't like the big Muppet goblin, whatever it was, the big fat goblin.
Very fair.
Jabba the Hutt goblin.
Forever will be Chet in my mind.
I told you.
But anyway, so I give it 3 Dancing Goblins.
Great. And I will hold off. Kat has the position of honor at the end. So, Carl.
Yeah. Again, there were elements of this I really liked. A lot of the pieces felt good. It was great to see the new Doctor. But the core story, the fantasy stuff was kind of bothering me. I wasn't a big fan of that. But I am hopeful for the future. So for this episode, I'm giving it a 3.5, 3.5.
Nice. And Kat, I'm so glad you're back. It's been so long.
13 Bannerman Road.
Let's see. Well, a little bit. I really enjoyed this episode. I know I nitpicked it to death and I sound pretty negative about it, but this was a solid adventure. I really like the energy, and I'm voting based on vibes. And also, I am really surprised that you guys rated the way you did, because mine is a 4.
Oh, I love it though. I love the optimism. I really do, sincerely.
He has room to grow, so
nice. Yes, at some point, I can't wait to hear what Sean's rating is going to be. And of course, Caleb, I am very curious, because Sean often surprises me, because you can't tell from what he was saying what he's actually going to rate.
And we didn't mention, Eric, that Sean got called away, of course.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, state government, important things happening at time of recording. So don't worry, Sean will be fine, and we'll be back as the... Yeah, I forgot what Sean's old monikers were. I don't know. But I really hope we can all assemble again in the near future and talk more Doctor Who. I can't wait. But until then, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
this is Kat.
This is Carl.
And until next time,
even if there's a rope ladder coming down and you decide to jump on,
don't panic.
I looked at Sean's stats on Xbox like 4 days ago.
Why were you looking at that?
Because I just learned how to, because I just learned how to see my own stats, and then I saw that you could see your friend's stats. So I looked at Sean's.
Jesus Christ. Look at my stats on Xbox. Go ahead, take a look.
It says out to lunch. So
no, it doesn't say out to lunch. It says who?
So I looked at Sean's and I took a photo. I just haven't sent it to him yet.
Oh, you didn't have time for that, but I get 3 a.m. text messages.
That was way more important because it was about me. No, so Sean's favorite game is Dead by Daylight. If you know it, it's actually a great game to play and then chat with friends at the same time. But anyway, so Sean has played Dead by Daylight. I'm going off memory, something like the equivalent hours of 86 days.
Wow. It was actually 86 days in a row, constantly.
And Steve Steve has played like 65 days worth of Dead by Daylight.
No, that's since like 2019.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So give me something.
Dude,
Yeah. Steve is at 65 days, and I, on Dead by Daylight, am at like 1 day, 13 hours.
Wait. So have you looked at my Doom record?
What is happening?
I've been playing Doom lately like nobody's business.
Have you looked at my Quake?
I've been playing Quake like crazy for the last 2 weeks. I love that game now. I never got to play Quake when it was out because my computer wasn't good enough. But now I've been playing it like crazy for 2 weeks now, and I absolutely love it.
No, dude, I actually have the DOS version of Quake that I'm playing. I'm not Quake, Doom. And I just love it. I just basically I put in all the cheat codes.
Yeah.
That's how
Doom is fun, but Quake is way better.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we're talking about stuff that's like 20 years old.
Well, not Dead by Daylight.
No. That's 4 years old. I'm talking about like Doom, which comes from like 1993.
Oh, it was like 92, 93. Yeah, I remember it well. I had like.
I'm so sorry. I have to bet. Wait, I have to ask a question. Are you gentlemen talking about Doom or Dune?
Oh,
Doom.
DOOM. Although I did play the Dune video game quite a lot in there.
Okay, of course you had to point that out, don't you?
It's true. It's a true story.
Anyway, that's the extent of video games that I play.
No, but yeah, Kat, I think it's like the next episode of Classic MHC or Lost MHC is the next one that's going to come out. I think has you, Kat. You got to listen to these old unreleased episodes. It's from like
2017.
Yeah, I think it's from 2017.
I don't even know who I was in 2017.
I know, that's my point because the way we've been talking right now as a group, that's how we sound, except with slightly higher pitched voices on the older recording. Because
before my balls dropped, I was
what?
No, we all sound slightly higher pitched, and but
we've been through a lot.
Yeah, but when you listen to the old recordings, because there's already been a few that have already gone out,
the heavy
like
smoking.
There is so much vibrancy, like in everyone, and like their love of Doctor Who, and like Josh is like it was like series 10. And he was just like, oh, this episode is so good, and the next one was so good, and I really like this one, and Capaldi's the Doctor, and blah, blah. And he's like, and Kat, if you've listened to our recent recordings that have just gone out on the specials, it's a tale of two Joshes.
Yeah, it's like Josh who actually writes up a diatribe and literally reads it on the air saying how much this is bullshit. I hate my life.
Trosh.
I'm just going to say, and Kat was in on this, I miss our recordings of Torchwood Mirror.
Yes, I was about to say that. Because the show turned terrible, but we're just like really gelling. And that's when Sean... Yeah, those are the ones where Sean became part of the quote-unquote MHC family was during that run.
The core, let's just say.
There was a point, I remember, I think I was in Thailand. And I wasn't in Thailand when we recorded, but I just came back from Thailand. And I was really jet-lagged, and I was literally falling asleep while we were talking about whatever episode it was of. Because by the 4th or 5th episode of that thing, it was just like, okay. And I think did y'all do like an 8th, 9th, 10th episode of it?
Oh yeah. We did the whole thing.
I don't remember.
I didn't like it after the Doctor died. Not the Doctor, but
because we kept talking about like the space vagina or whatever in the final episode.
Yes.
But yeah, that was really fun because I remember. I mean, like if it was like the 80s, or the 70s, it would be like the end of that 70s show. Where we're all just hanging out in the basement, or we'd be like Wayne's World, it felt like that. Not that we're like really professional now, because we're not, but
Speak for yourself, Sean.
Never.
I still feel old, so it doesn't have that thing that it had when I was younger.
It was good. It was really good. I didn't even want to watch that fucking thing either. And it was,
Yeah, once they burned the female doctor.
once they beat it was like episode 4 that they
Yeah,
burned her.
yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. This sucks. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. I should go back and listen to those.
Yeah. That was a very, like I said, interesting, notable period in the MHC stream.